Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Anita and I welcome you all in my International Humanitarian Law class. Friends, today I'm going to discuss on topic classification of conflict in international humanitarian law. As we all know, international humanitarian law is that branch of public international law which is applicable during the armed conflict situation. It is a law which you can say it is a special law which only apply when there is an armed conflict situation occurs. The main purpose of IHL is to regulate the conduct of parties who are involved in the armed conflict. Or in other words, I can say that IHL makes sure that means and methods of warfare are not unlimited. For example, use of biological weapons are prohibited. Use of chemical weapons are prohibited because generally these are the weapons which cannot discriminate between the combatant and civilian. However, now the question comes, does IHL apply all kinds of conflict? If not, what are those conflict on which IHL is going to be applicable? So friends, here is the main topic of the discussion which we will try to understand today. What kinds of conflict on which IHL is applicable? So basically when we talk about the kinds of conflict in international humanitarian law, there are two kinds of conflict. The first one is called international armed conflict and the second one is non international armed conflict. It is a very necessary to know the basic difference between these two conflicts. The reason being is that the IHL will be applicable based on the category of the conflict, whether it is international or non international armed conflict. But before we understand the definition of international and non international armed conflict, let us understand what is the meaning of armed conflict itself. When we'll say that particular situation is armed conflict or not, the specific definition of armed conflict is not defined in the Treaty Law of the International Humanitarian Law. However, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, in short, I call it ICTY. So let me tell you, ICTY is a tribunal which was established by UN Security Council to prosecute to those people who were responsible for the committing of the violation of international humanitarian law in former Yugoslavia. So ICTY in Tadic case defines what does armed conflict will constitute. And this definition is very important to understand because later on this definition has been quoted by various international criminal tribunal recognized by various scholars in international law. So this definition got enough recognition. So let me tell you how ICTY in Tadic case define what does armed conflict means. So it simply says an armed conflict exists whenever there is a resort to armed forces. So in a simple word, wherever there is a resort to armed forces, that situation will be considered as an armed conflict. Now coming to the question, what does international armed conflict constitute? So let me share my screen and show you the main provision which tells about what is the international armed conflict. All right. So when we talk about the international armed conflict, the common Article 2 of 4 Geneva Convention is important to understand because common Article 2 of 4 Geneva Convention define what is the international armed conflict. So let me read what is the first paragraph of common Article 2 of the 4 Geneva Convention does talk about. So it simply says the present convention shall apply to all the cases of declared war or any other armed conflict which may arise between two or more of the high contracting parties. So, friends, let me tell you, armed conflict are those conflict which are happening between two or more of the high contracting party uh, means the country. It means those armed conflict which happen between two state or more than two state, that will fall under the category of international armed conflict. And let me tell you, the definition which is given in common article 2 of 4 Geneva Convention is a very wide enough to cover uh, the variety of the armed conflict, in the sense it is not only going to be applicable those kind of international armed conflict which is a legally declared, but it is also going to cover those kind of armed conflict which is not legally recognized by the state, because after World War II, hardly state have recognized the war, between between the other states. So in that situation, this common Article 2 of all four Geneva Convention has a very wider ambit to cover those kind of armed conflict. Coming to the second paragraph of the Common Article 2, which says the convention shall also apply to all the cases of partial or total occupation of the territory of the high contracting party, even if the said occupation meets with no armed resistance. So, this Common Article 2 is also applicable in that situation where one country occupied the territory of the other country, even though there is no armed resistance has been found, but still it will be considered as a international armed conflict. So I hope I could able to make you clear that what does international armed conflict constitute. So let me quickly recap. The international armed conflict should always happen between the state, that is the first criteria. And according to common article 2, it is not only applicable to the declared war, but it is also applicable to those war which is not recognized by the state. Now, coming to the non international armed conflict. So, to understand the definition of non international armed conflict, let me tell you there are two main treaty law which you need to understand. The first one, which you can see on your screen, Common Article 3 of Geneva Convention. So, Common Article 3 of Geneva Convention is important to understand the non international armed conflict, and also the additional protocol 2, which deals with the protection of victims during non-international armed conflict, is also important to understand what does non-international armed conflict constitute. So let me tell you what common article 3 of Geneva Convention does talk about. So as you can see on your screen, common article 3 provides, in the case of armed conflict not an international character occurring in the territory of one of the high contracting party, each party to the conflict shall be bound to apply as a minimum the following provision. So in a simple words, let me tell you, the common article 3 simply says those armed conflict which are not in international character. It's also state that this kind of conflict should be confined only one territory, should be confined only one boundary of the states. And it's also prescribed certain minimum humanitarian obligation which is applicable on the parties to the conflict who are in the parties to the conflict. So, but the problem is that Common Article 3 does not give a procedural requirement to establish whether a conflict will fall under the non international armed conflict or not. As you can see, after reading this definition, there is no clarity about what about the low intensity of the internal armed conflict, whether they will also fall under the category of non international armed conflict. So to understand this in more deeper, it is necessary to understand the additional protocol second, which deals with the protection of the victim during non international armed conflict. So as you can see on your screen, Article 1 of the Additional Protocol 2 talks about the definition of non international armed conflict. And as you can see on your screen, it states this protocol, which develop and supplement the Article 3 common to the Geneva Convention. So this protocol actually supplements the Article 3. It extended the scope. So let us understand. So it says which take place in the territory of high conflicting party between its armed forces and dissident armed forces or other organized armed group which under a responsible command exercises such a control over a part of its territory as to enable them to carry out sustained and concerted military operation and to implement this protocol. So in simple words, Article 1 of Additional Protocol 2 defines what would be the threshold for the non international armed conflict. First thing, it tells about who will be the parties to the conflict. As you can see on your screen, it says that it should be either between the state forces or non-state actor or between two non-state actors. So this kind of conflict will be considered as a non-international armed conflict, provided they should fulfill all this obligation. And what are this obligation and requirement? First, they should be under a responsible command. Second, they should be under the control of over a part of the territory, and the third, they should be able to carry out or sustain the military operation. The last one, they should be able to implement this protocol. Now the problems comes because of the subjective nature of this criteria, and this each criteria require a very detailed analysis to understand more in deeper the non-international armed conflict. There is a one important provision, let me highlight this as well. The part 2 of article 1 talks about low intensity of the conflict which will not fall under the non-international armed conflict. And as you can see on your screen, it says this protocol shall not apply to the situation of internal disturbance, tension, such as riots, isolated, and sporadic acts of violence. So, additional protocol 2 not only define the criteria and the procedural requirement for a non-international armed conflict, but it's also exclude those kind of internal conflict which could not able to meet the threshold. And as you can see, the internal disturbance is excluded from the ambit of non-international armed conflict. Any tension like riots, isolated and sporadic acts of violence has been excluded from the ambit of non-international armed conflict. So I hope I could able to make some sense with discussion, and you all are able to understand the basic difference between international armed conflict and non-international armed conflict. In my next lecture, I will be dealing with each criteria in a detail. So thank you very much for your attention.